8 months after same-sex marriage became the law of the land in France, they are still demonstrating. Tens of thousands, say police, hundreds of thousands, according to organizers, in the streets of Paris and Lyon on Sunday, against what they termed the socialist government's familyphobia. This time, it was peaceful. A week ago, there were 250 arrests with traditional Catholics and Muslims, outflanked at times by far-right supporters. There were even anti-Semitic slogans a week ago, and the Canel salute, dear to controversial satirist Dieudonné, the same Dieudonné who's now banned by the UK Home Office from coming to England in support of his friend, footballer Nicolas Anelka. The great manipulation headlines left-leaning Libération regarding Sunday's demonstration. Libération, which feels that there are lies perpetrated to spread hate and bring down the government. But when the Interior Minister warns of zero tolerance for hate speech, well, conservative daily Le Figaro calls it a bid to stifle legitimate debate. A return to more conservative values. Still a minority opinion in France according to surveys. But what's the trend? And how about Spain, where pro-choice demonstrators on Saturday marched against a proposal to tighten restrictions on abortion? Which way is the pendulum swinging on social values? Is hate speech seeping into mainstream politics? Those are some of the questions we're broaching as we look at the sometimes bitter row that's unfolding here in France over family values. With us to talk about it is historian Jean-Marie Salamito, supporter of Sunday's demonstrations. Also with us, Franck Margain of the French Christian Democratic Party, the Christian Democratic Party, which is in support of repealing the bill that was passed. He is pro same-sex marriage, activist Christophe Martet, journalist at YAGG magazine. Thank you for being with us. And what's freedom of speech? What's hate speech? Later we'll be asking Franco-Spanish attorney Jean-Marc SANCHEZ, who joins us. Thank you for being with us. The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter, our hashtag F24debate. Those who marched in Paris and Lyon expressing the worry that the socialists are trying to undermine family values, a worry that's unfounded, says the government. However, Franck Margain, we're getting word this afternoon that a bill that was supposed to be presented on a reform of family values has been put on the back burner, at least for 2014. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's just, a reflection of what we've said from the beginning, that the government had planned to move in a certain dramatic way the rules of the family in France, and they've seen that the French were not disposed to accept that, and they have stepped back, which is obviously good news for what we've done this weekend and for the amount of energy we have put in the debate for the last 9 months. I'm pleased to see that. I'm also reluctant to have an insurance for the future. I don't think they will not come back to this issue, but for the time being, they have understood that the French are determined.
The government claims the bill is, by all accounts, rather innocuous. It's status for the stepfather. It's things like trying to ensure that people have more rights, basically, when it comes to things like mediation and in cases of divorce. Why the steadfastness against this bill?
Because, they have told to the population for the last year that they just want to move marginally everything. But when you see actually what's going on, and you could see on the last debate on the gender theory, it was just, to promote equality between girl and boys. But what we got at the end is a modification, a real modification of all our culture, and the way that you are better to live alone than to be married together. That's on the ABCD equality. When you see the princess and the prince should be taken out by the princess because she's better alone.
Let's explain that to our viewers, because maybe they don't know. There was a big row last week.
But that's all about that.
I'll bring you in on this, Christophe Martet. The government saying they were going to sanction some parents in some schools because what they say was a fake rumor that they were going to start teaching gender theory.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to stress that there is no gender theory. There are gender studies. That means that you study history, you study economics, you study social facts by the gender, by identity. You study the discrimination based on gender, based on sex, and we know that between boys and girls there are differences and there are discriminations. And so this is what happens. Nowhere is no one talking about gender theory. This is something wrong. So what the government said is that for a parent to withdraw his children from school is wrong, and that is true. You cannot withdraw your children on fake rumors, because these were fake rumors. Remember, people in SMS said that the teachers will teach young children masturbation. They will cut off the penises of boys. I mean, how can you believe this bullshit? You have to say the words, because this is so wrong. And now my concern is that the reaction of the government was not strong enough and was not based on the fact, which is ABC of equality, what the program is called, is to stress the differences and the discrimination between boys and girls, and to start with this discrimination, and to have children that can question their identity, that can question their roles in society, and that can have a better future. Why do you think children, women, girls, they start with a very good future at school, and why is it that between 20 and 25 they completely disappear from high schools, from
but that's not true.
That's true,
no,
of course.
If
yes,
you go to medicine or to
the latest figures, you see Polytechnique, you see Polytechnique, you see ENA, you see all the big administration, and you see the no, it's not entirely wrong. And why is it that 80% of the homework, I mean the basic works at home are made by women? Why is it so? So this is what the ABC of equality is based on, and wants to address. It's not about changing the sex. It's not about all these theories that are completely wrong.
Okay, we are. So in other words, these demonstrations have. It's just another layer, basically. This whole rumor that went around about
rumor.
What they were going to teach gender theory in school.
But that's all. I mean, that's already done. I've told you on this ABCD program, it's about gender theory. It's not about what you've said on equality.
But gender theory is that you teach kids that you're not born a boy or a girl, that you become it later.
Exactly.
The government is steadfast in saying, and I'll put this to you, Jean-Marie Salamito, that's not what is in these new guidelines for trying to fight stereotypes in primary schools.
I think there is a big confusion between feminism, between equality and justice, and this problem of ABCD de l'égalité. I think
the guidelines called the
book. It's a school book. It's textbook for children, which is a model of confusion between very different ideas and very different theories. So I agree with my neighbor that there has been some bullshit, SMS with the lies, but the problem is a true problem. Now, very strangely, and it's very amazing, the government says there is no theory of gender, and the same who spoke of the theory 1 year and a half ago, now say there is no theory, gender theory. I agree once again with my neighbor that there are gender studies. I'm a historian, so I know this field of research in human sciences. It's an important field, and it is very up to date. So it is fully respectable. But there is also, and we have to distinct both, there is also an ideology, a theory which wants to destroy the idea of a natural and normal and ordinary difference between sex.
Natural? We are in a society.
Biologic, if you want. Just a fact.
Okay,
but a fact. A biological fact.
Okay,
You are alive. I'm alive.
Okay.
We have a body
And all the progress in the world has been made exactly to surpass the biology, to surpass nature. You know, 100 years ago, there was no divorce, there was no vote for women. 100 years ago, there was no abortion. There was no
problem of political
it's
choice.
Culture. We are also a cultural body. We are not just a biological body.
But sure. It is the problem.
There are no natural order except for people who are religious.
I don't speak of a natural order. I just speak of a simple, extremely simple biological reality. The negation, the denying of this reality is a mistake.
But that's not what's in the ABC for equality. ABC in equality means
this book is extremely ambiguous.
Right, that book on those guidelines is actually just one aspect of this, but a lot of the people that we've been speaking to, they've been saying that they thought that, again, the number one slogan that was heard last Sunday, again, was a repeal of the Same-Sex Marriage Act, which was passed 8 months ago. Jerome on Facebook saying, "I'm confused. How can a movement wanting to deny marriage rights to same-sex couples call themselves Manif pour tous, protest for everyone?" Franck Margain, you're a minority opinion because same-sex marriages are a majority of the French seem to approve it.
I mean, we are not a minority or majority. I think we are trying to defend a certain idea of what the family could be. And I would accept that, others got differences. But when I'm, in the street to contest the government policy, I'm representing thousands, millions of electors who are just, not believing what the government is proposing. So it's not a question of minority. If we were a strong minority, the government would have not stepped back today on the family project. So we've got to be very clear on that. When my colleague said, there is no gender theory, I think you are not just, in the 28th of February 2013, in the Parliament, an amendment has been done on a bill to introduce the gender theory in education. So please don't say that there is no gender theory involvement by the government, first. And second, you talk about, this book. I agree. I've read all the ABCD, all chapters, all details. And actually, that's what I call ideology, because in this ideology, they are just teaching children. It's better not to obey to your parents. In page 8, you could see, you will build a better world if you escape from your parent education. And on the page 9, you could see that the prince should not marry the princess because the princess should be better alone and should be stronger. In my view, the society is better when you live together. You go further, you are stronger. So it's just an ideology on that case.
If family was the paradise on earth, there wouldn't be a cinema.
No paradise.
There
is no
literature.
paradise on earth,
If it was perfect,
my dear colleague,
if the family with a man and a woman was a perfect world, there won't be literature, there won't be psychiatrists, there won't be movies, because everything is based on this. And you know that in traditional, what you call traditional families, with a woman and a man, there has been many problems also, and children raised in a normal family also have problems.
Jean-Marc Sanchez, this debate has been going on now for a year and a half in France, and it's still going strong. First question for you: do you agree with Franck Margain that the government's mishandled it all?
Well, I'm not sure I can agree or disagree, but from a technical point of view, things are very much different in Spain. I mean, François, Spain and France are different countries, different background, different history. When President Zapatero took over in Spain right after the bombing of Atocha, which was actually the beginning of the end for former President Aznar, who actually really missed his exit, and Zapatero came over with nothing but a government program based on a campaign program. And he offered 2 or 3 major bills that were passed. The homosexual marriage, that has not created such a big deal in Spain so far. The abortion law, that was also largely approved by the Spanish Congress and the people. And as of today, there is a change in the law because the government is changing, because the majority is changing. But still,
is it too early? In other words, are you saying it's too early to say whether or not how these laws will go down eventually here?
It's difficult to know, but there is one thing for sure: there is a big difference between what the people see of Spain from the outside and what the real country is. Spain is a very conservative country, deeply involved in traditions where the Catholic Church, such as a strong power. As an example, you can still get married in Spain in church, which is one of the last countries, I think, in Europe, probably in the world, where you can do that. In England too.
In Italy.
In some countries you can, but still in Spain it's very different. You don't have such a system like the civilian contract, the PAX, called the PAX in France. So you don't have an alternative to the traditional marriage, as we would say. Still, people are making quite a big deal out of the abortion law changes, more or likely more outside Spain than in Spain. All those issues have been raised in Spain, and that has not created such major protests, such as in France. Still,
it's less bitter than in
absolutely,
France. So why is that? Why is it more bitter here?
Probably because the way the French people, well, I mean, it's a French issue here. So from a Spanish perspective, I would say that maybe it's difficult in this country to solve problems without struggle. And I think that in Spain, we've been used to much more conflicting times, and we don't want to get back to this.
Are you gentlemen surprised that it's over these social issues, family values, that we've had such a heated debate?
I'm not so surprised because we know that the right and the extreme right, they have an agenda. It's normal that when the government is socialist or left, it's normal that the right and the extreme right have their say and that their opposition to that. But what I say is that the government was not strong enough in its beliefs, and it wasn't brave enough. I mean, French people elected with a majority a president and an assembly, a parliament that was pro-marriage, and don't say gay marriage, it's a marriage for all, it's the same marriage. I've been married for 7 months now, and I hope that nobody will repeal this right. So the government was elected on that basis, and the law, as you said, the law passed very quickly in Spain. I was outraged the way the government was instrumentalized or exploiting this issue in a political way, because the debate didn't have to last for months and months and months. So now I'm outraged. It
should have been done more seamlessly. We're going to have to take a quick break and we'll come back. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate.